Hashtag Max Out Your Life by Ed Mylett. This man begins his book with truth bomb after truth bomb. The average lifespan for a person is 78 years. Of those years, 28 will be spent sleeping, and 7 of those sleeping years are spent lying awake at night with worry. Factor in the average 11 years spent watching TV or surfing the internet, 10.5 years working, 4 years driving, the years spent eating, getting dressed, and mundane tasks, and it leaves approximately 8 years to live your life. If you were told right now that you had 8 years left to live of your life, what would that do to your sense of urgency? How deep would your gratitude for each moment become? The author says that he believes we are all born, and this I hadn't heard before, with a sort of twin. Another side of us who we are destined to be. Someone who made all the best choices and is an ideal version of who you are. When he makes it to the pearly gates, he wants to be as close to that version of himself as possible. Like identical. When he finally passes, and this book is kind of like his invitation for us to do the same for ourselves.
But is this just another mindset book?
By the end of chapter 1, I had a feeling that it was gonna be another really well put together mindset book full of reminders of things that maybe I knew them at some point, but I stopped doing them. And in short, it definitely was. But was there anything in it that I wasn't a fan of? Before just making these videos, I would run into, his social media content. And I'm glad to see what this guy's finally about, the way he thinks about things. He started a financial services company and is now worth over $410 million. How the hell does that happen? I love learning about like how people get rich, what they do, what kind of moves they make, especially from small, medium to large. Because I feel like everything those moves have in common at different magnitudes, they say so much about not just like a person, but how they get to where they are now, if that makes sense. Their daily habits and routines and philosophies, and of course money doesn't equal success, at least the way I see it, when there's no gratitude and fulfillment attached to it. So let's go through a little bit more info on that as well. Oh, and I'm also going to talk about some of the negative audible reviews that I saw on this book, because when I like the book, those always surprise me, and sometimes I agree with them. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Samuel, and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. The author wrote this book because he wants to help as many people as possible by sharing some of the techniques that have served him throughout his life. Every moment is fleeting and precious, and we know that, but we let them slip away anyway. Why do most people do that? I don't know. He hopes that his guidance and strategies help us to unlock our next levels of living and beyond, like to the top of performance and life, aka maxing out, hashtag. This guy is a normal dude. He lacked the tools and required to reach success at first, where he started from the bottom and now he's here. The thing is, I always love hearing someone's background story in these books, because everyone has a story, even if the lessons are the same. You know that when he was a child, he had 2 tumors, one of them benign that he chose to keep. To this day, he still has a tumor. It's just chilling. But at some point, he jokingly told his daughter that he is in a midlife crisis. In fact, he's in a daily life crisis, and he aims to be in a lifelong crisis as he continues to grow. The second chapter focuses on habits that keep you going, for habits that get you going, and I guess a little bit of habits that keep you going. I highly recommend checking out How to Get and Stay Motivated by Grant Cardone, a book that seriously surprised me compared to other motivational ones. Mylett advises to wake up before the sun. He advises quality over quantity sleep, drink water as soon as you wake up and plenty of it, cold morning, warm night, and practicing gratitude and positive mindset in the morning. Which again, I've heard this in a bunch of different places, but it kind of, some of these, in some ways, they kind of slip my mind over time. One of my favorite concepts in self-development is highlighted in the next chapter, the RAS, Reticular Activation System, big words, which is basically the system in your brain that determines what you focus on. And the only reason that this is so important is that what you focus on, you get more of it. What you focus on determines what you get, and what you get determines like what you have the option to react to. And if you could choose what you would have the option to react to, anything, what would it be? I guess the concept RAS in personal development specifically was it was popularized by Tony Robbins, who, like, I mean, if you look into self-development and you don't know who Tony Robbins is, like, I mean, how is that possible? But to be frank, many of the ideas in this book And the author is actually quick to acknowledge this. He got from Tony Robbins. Speaking of which, hearing the next chapter about proximity and how it's power and identity, it kind of makes me think, let's say in the next 10 to 15 years, this guy puts out like 4 or 5 more books and he grows the hell out of his following. His following's big, it's not very small as it is. I mean, I think his Instagram has like 2.2 million people or something. When that's the case, hashtag max out your life, it is basically his awaken the giant within. The biggest thing I would advise from the chapter about health and fitness, and this is definitely, maybe because this has served me the most, is that those of you just beginning, need to start with a simple plan and routine that you adjust as you progress. The next chapter is about goals. Of course, you can't have a book like this without a chapter about goals. And the 3 components of putting them together and achieving them. Specificity, making sure they're specific. If you say, I want more money, and you don't know how much money you want, you know what universal intelligence is gonna say?
Here, this is $1. Now get the hell out of here, okay?
The next is accountability, friends and family supporting, and also mentors you, and also visualization, the third one. Vision boards are an excellent example of this. I sort of have a vision board here. It's been a while since I put anything new on it, but like this is my Tesla Model X. I've been writing down that I drive it for the past 3 years between 3 and 6 times a day. I haven't missed a single day the whole time. This is kind of like the house that I want to live in. It's sort of an indoor-outdoor home. Up here is another maybe version of that house, and this is the inside of it. And I also really admire a lot of things about nature. I don't know that much about nature, but I like looking at it. This is trees. I mean, this stuff, you kind of know what a lot of this is, but up here there's a moon. It's like a very clear view of the moon. There's also space. I also write down that I have a $10 billion real estate portfolio on Mars. It's probably the most unachievable target, or closest to unachievable in this lifetime that I have over here. And this is kind of them building the groundwork for Mars. This is another inside view of, I hope you guys can see this stuff. This is one of those inside views of the house that I live in. It's been a while since I put anything more on this, but
I said moron.
But I do want to, I want to take down this picture of a really nice red piano and replace it. My favorite food is steak. I'm thinking of keeping that. And there's a picture of a music studio up here. And this is also the interior of the Tesla that I drive. I do not drive a Tesla. I drive a 2009 navy blue Chevy HHR, but I've never gone this far into the whole vision board thing, but since it's also, none of this part is pre-scripted like everything else in my reviews. Every day between 3 and 6 times, every single day I write down that I like own all these things and they're all part of my life as if they are. And all the time I spend editing my own videos, I see them in the background and it's a reminder, you know what I mean? Overall, this is a nice book. It's short. I like his outlook and some of the stories he tells, like when he was broke and starting out, or when he was talking about his mom and how her RAS is like shaped around the grace of God, and how she's the happiest person he knows because she's constantly looking for like examples to point out of like how amazing God is. What else? I'd love to hear more about his experience starting and managing and scaling his financial services company, and especially how he applies different principles of leadership. So Ed, if you are watching this and you wrote a book about that would be great. Maybe his, you know, the super fans of his content wouldn't be as on board with it, but what do negative reviews say of this book? I gotta hear these. Mr. Stephen R. Baker gave this book a 2-star out of 5. Having seen Ed live, had great expectations, but instead this was mainly a promotion to listen to his podcast. Disappointing, Ed, not worth the credit. Wow, I can only imagine what this guy's like on stage, but I didn't get that much self-promotion from this, even though the book's title begins with a hashtag. And he does mention his podcast a couple times, maybe he mentions his website, but even in an hour and a half long audiobook, I really didn't hear it that much. Also, I don't mean to be a little sneeze. Do people even say stuff like that?
You're being such a little sneeze, get out of my pantry.
Steven, but a credit is like $10 on Audible, and this book was like $3. So you didn't even need to buy it with a credit. You could just buy it for $3 like I did. The only time that I don't buy books with Audible credits is when they're less money than an Audible credit. And when you buy 3 credits at a time, I don't mean to sound like I'm promoting Audible. I'm kind of always promoting Audible because I'm a serial Audible listener. For any Audible listeners, like, I mean, a credit, like if you buy 3 of them at a time, they're like $9.56 each. And a book, if it's like $4 or less, I mean, why would you get a credit when you can save like $5 on a book? You know what I mean? The next negative review, Mr. Make It Rain, gave it 3 stars. It's a quick recap of tips you hear all the time. This is the audiobook for you if you don't want to spend a lot of time going through his podcasts and YouTube channel. I'm not too familiar with his content, so whatever I have to say about that, in my opinion, shouldn't hold much weight. The performance is good, although sometimes it sounds like an infomercial for WWE, and he's taking a cold shower, and he's practicing mindfulness meditation, and bam, an RAS RKO right in the gratitude bone. It does kind of sound like that sometimes though. Not over the top with that delivery, but something about his voice, nothing wrong with it, especially this type of book. If you already know about meditation and mindfulness and The Secret and Atomic Habits, then you should find something else. I like to say this on this channel that masters are always going over the basics, but this book is full of basics. I will also say that if you're looking for one of those books or a nice refresher on them, this is your guy. Quotes. Being an entrepreneur is the most tremendous personal development program in the world. People matter, things don't. Worrying is pointless, there's no upside to it. Direction 1. As I said, I would recommend this book for anyone looking for, I guess, reminders of the basics, if not, you know, just a book on the basics. Direction 2. If you like this book, again, I would highly recommend Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins and How to Get and Stay Motivated by Grant Cardone. Hashtag Maxout Your Life by Ed Mylett. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video, if you want to check those out too. If you guys buy anything through the links in the description, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe. You guys like my song I wrote for you? But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.